vis-a-vis the liberation struggle in South and Southern Africa that were the causes of both my conflict with the Lekanya Military Council and my enforced exile, unquote. In 1987, King Moshoeshoe presented a major address at the New York Council on Foreign Relations on the situation in Southern Africa and U.S. policy towards this region. And among other things, the King said that since 1984, in South Africa, there's begun a new period of intensified politicization of the black majority opposition in the African townships. And he said the subsequent emergence of recent political groupings such as the UDF, National Forum, Congress of South African Trade Unions, unites black opposition in a new way in support of the total liberation movement and the principles of the Freedom Charter. And he went on to say that the US government policy of constructive engagement has secured little in the way of any change. It has, however, lost the United States valuable time needed to exercise their undoubted capacity to influence the South African government to come to the negotiating table. Without doubt, this major 1987 statement by His Majesty King Moshoeshoe II at the New York Council on Foreign Relations spoke exactly to the point made by Oliver Tambo when he spoke in 1971 and said, "Let the dream of Moshoeshoe, who cherished a great alliance of African people to resist their separate conquest, come true in our lifetime." It was exactly to contribute to this outcome that King Moshoeshoe II, loyal to the tradition initiated by his forebear, delivered his address at the New York Council on Foreign Relations. It is said that during his 1988 presidential campaign, the late President of the United States, George H.W. Bush, said, "I don't do the vision thing," to highlight the importance of pragmatic action and to downplay the importance of developing a long-term vision. The story I've been trying to tell Your Majesties as part of my tribute to His Majesty King Moshoeshoe II is exactly the opposite of what President Bush Sr. said. In the practice, following on the footsteps of his direct ancestors, starting with King Moshoeshoe I, King Moshoeshoe II respected the observation in the biblical book of Proverbs, "Where there is no vision, people perish." When Constantine Bereng Seyiso became paramount chief of Lesotho Basotholand in 1960, he acceded to a high political position during a year in which many African countries gained their independence, following on the independence of Sudan in 1956 and Ghana the following year, 57. It would not be difficult to imagine the dreams and hopes, the optimistic and inspiring vision the African people had as control of their countries came back into African hands. For instance, in his Independence Day speech on the 6th of March, 1957, Kwame Nkrumah proudly and correctly proclaimed, "We have awakened. We will not sleep anymore. Today and from now on, there is a new African in the world," unquote. And 3 years later, when Ghana became a republic in 1960, Nkrumah said, "Today we have entered upon a new life and a new revolution, the national revolution for economic and social reconstruction and the national effort to build Ghana into a beautiful and prosperous nation." And he said, by economic and social reconstruction, we mean the development of the potential wealth and the cultivation of our social relations in such a way as to eradicate the causes of poverty and squalor, degradation and unemployment, depression and want, so as to raise the living standards of our people, ensuring economic and social security from everyone, from birth to death. And for its part, the 1963 OAU Charter said that among other purposes of the organization were to promote the unity and solidarity of the African states and to coordinate and intensify their cooperation and efforts to achieve a better life for the peoples of Africa. And sometime after this, the same OAU adopted the Lagos Plan of Action, 1980 to 2000. And in its preamble, the plan says, the effect of unfulfilled promises of global development strategies has been more sharply felt in Africa than in other countries of the world. Indeed, rather than result in an improvement of the economic situation on the continent, successive strategies have made it stagnate and become more susceptible than other regions to the economic and social crises suffered by the industrialized countries. It said that Africa is unable to point to any significant growth rate or satisfactory index of general well-being in the past 20 years. And faced with this situation and determined to undertake measures for the basic restructuring of the economic base of our continent, the plan said we resolved to adopt a far-reaching regional approach based primarily on collective self-reliance. And yet, despite the adoption of the Lagos Plan of Action, and 30 years after the adoption of the OAU Charter, in 1993, yet another ordinary session of the OAU Heads of State and Government adopted a declaration which said, among